Munju ya kanyomonyomo bwe ndikuta ndikwata mulala kanyomonyomo bw'onyomera sula munju kanyomonyomo bwe ndikuta ndikwata mulala kanyomonyomo bw'onyomera sula munju.
Welcome one and all to a wonderful celebration where together we have the opportunity to translate 1 hour of fun and entertainment around beers to a lifetime of fulfillment and cheers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are brimming over with gratitude, and we're going to start with some thank yous. Thank you, first of all, to all of our sponsors. You have been absolutely extraordinary. The support has been overwhelming, even before the first brew is supped. So thank you so much, sponsors. If you have the opportunity to thank them personally or go by their establishments, please do so. Secondly, let's thank Peggy Pollard and her wonderful team. Peggy has been supporting and been the prime advocate for CASESE for the last 4 years. She's been awarded 2 global grants to do this wonderful work. And we can't thank you enough, Peggy, and the whole committee. This is an extraordinary feat. This is way much more work than any normal non-virtual event. It has been quite staggering the amount of work that's gone into it. So thank you to the whole committee and all the volunteers who have put this together. And finally, thank you. Thank you all for being here. We, again, are so grateful that you've come here to share your kindness and your support and to join us in this wonderful event. Thank you. In fact, let's be upstanding. Please join me in a thank you, thumbs up, and a virtual round of applause to each other for joining in. Thank you so very much. All right, we're going to start. We always start with this one thing with Rotary, where there are 2 goals. The first goal is for us to have as much fun as is physically possible. And the second is to revel in the joys of paying forward our collective goodwill to a project that quite literally is transformative in the lives of thousands and thousands of people. Here's what we've got in store for you. We're going to start out by breaking off into the breakout rooms. We have a puzzler for you. And I think you'll have a great time with this, particularly knowing that this is high stakes stuff. A night out compliments of Discretion Brewing will be that for the whole team, the winning team that is first to solve the puzzler. So stay tuned on that. That segues delightfully onto our first guest, which is Michael Demures, who is from Discretion Brewing. And he's going to show us a video that will just inform us as to why this glorious little iconic brewery is now so huge in Santa Cruz County and way beyond. And Michael is going to take us through a beer tasting of 3 exquisite amber nectars, is how I like to refer to them. They will be, in fact, you have them very much right on your tables, I would hope. Indeed, this is the perfect time to say, if you don't have your beers at the ready, or you don't have 3 glasses in which to taste them, this is a good time to go out and make sure that happens. Anyway, Michael will be with us and he will conduct that whole tasting. Then we will have the first of 4 drawings. We have some amazing drawing items. That will happen, and immediately after that, Peggy will come on and show a video which will show us even more what is possible for these wonderful members of the CASESE village and way beyond. Then after that, there'll be a moment where we can share, we take the opportunity to express our collective generosity and goodwill. And then finally, we will have the last of 4 drawings, as I mentioned. And the very last one of those is Hawaii. And very significantly, you must be present to win. So your odds are extremely good, as you can imagine. And obviously, it's well worth hanging in for. So that's going to happen right at the end. By the way, I shouldn't say right at the end because we will close down at that point, but we will be conducting an afterglow where we'll invite anyone who would like to stay on just for a few more minutes of celebration and can consult with Michael. That's the perfect time to do it. So that's what we have in store for you all. We can't wait to engage. In fact, why don't we do it now? How about we go in to the puzzler? Now, before we go, you will be sent out into breakout rooms, as I said. There are 4 things to do. First, find a captain. If a captain immediately volunteers, perfect, you have a captain. If that doesn't happen, then the person whose first name is closest to K for Kasese will either be the captain or appoint a captain. Then the captain will go around the circle and everyone will introduce themselves by first name. And then if they would also, in a space of 1 sentence or less, just quickly say how it turns out that they're here today. Then we will go about solving the puzzler. And this is very neat. You'll have 10 questions to answer. But what happens is it fills out a refrain, a very popular refrain, and it's done like the old Wheel of Fortune, shall we say. You fill out the first letter of each answer and place it in its appropriate square right here, and it will spell out a very well-known refrain, which brings us to the 4th item. That captain needs to leave the breakout room and go to the general chat and chat out the answer. And if that team is the first one to correctly answer the refrain, they, as I say, will win a night out, the whole group, at Discretion Brewing. So, high stakes indeed. If you have any questions, we are going to remain in the main room, but now we're going to break out and get right down to the puzzler. Best of luck, everybody.
Chat or chat to everybody?
Welcome back, everyone. I think the stragglers are coming in now. There's all kinds of controversy going on now. Throw open a prize of a few beers and my, it gets competitive. But I am delighted, since obviously the puzzler was designed to add a little connection and a little reinforcement of our general knowledge around Kasese and Uganda in general. And well done, as all kinds of people came through. So I'm going to announce the actual, just in case your group did not get it. The refrain is water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink, which of course was from the Ancient Mariner, and it's his rhyme. And of course, it was all about being in the ocean, needless to say, where it's salt water and couldn't be drunk. But we felt that it was poignantly apt for so many communities in Africa, and that was the point of it. It was, of course, by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, for those who are interested in a little erudition. And the winner is, drum roll, the winner is Group 4. Amy, you were the captain that made it all happen. Congratulations to that whole team. Outstanding indeed.
I was not the
All
captain,
right.
I just got back in time.
Well, congratulations. It was a team effort, but I can see your razor sharp insight from here virtually. All right, before we go to our next area, I do want to, I'd like to call upon John. When we were thanking the sponsors, typically we have a little statement that goes up announcing who they are. And John, I wonder if it's possible for you to throw that up, because we never, ever want to shortchange our sponsors. So again, Zoom has one thing that you can absolutely guarantee on, and that is that there'll be a few technical difficulties. And so we're putting this one right. There it is up on the screen. So again, do spend a moment peeking over that. All of these people were so generous in making this happen. And if, as I say, you have the opportunity to thank them personally and indeed go to their establishment of business, please do so, because they are generous and wonderful members of our community. Talking of generous and wonderful members of our community, I am delighted to introduce our first guest. His name, as I mentioned, is Michael Demers, and he is the brewmaster and also the social advocate at Discretion Brewing. And he has come here again to give us a little flavor of what's going on at Discretion and to conduct our beer tasting. We're going to start out with a video, and I'm going to hand over directly to Roger and John to throw that video up.
Hi everybody, this is Michael Demers. I'm coming to you from Discretion Brewing in SoCal, California. I'm outside in the beer garden right now. I'm going to give you a tour today of the inside of the facility, and hopefully someday you can come and join us and enjoy our outdoor dining and our indoor dining once it opens up after COVID. I hope you enjoy the tour, and I will talk to you later. So let's take a little walk around. This is our new expanded beer garden outside, our tent that we built to help accommodate social distancing. We've got heaters in there. People can hang out in the rain or the sunshine. And we're approaching the main entrance to the building now. Inside the tap room, this is our bar. We're not actually using the space inside now because of COVID, but there's the bar. You can see one of the brewers back there working. That's Ryan. We have some merchandise for sale over here. In addition to brewing up great beer here at Discretion, we have a fantastic kitchen. Brad Brisky and his team of the restaurant Home Fry are making our food for you to enjoy. Yum. Here's our awards corner. We've received many medals and accolades over the years, both domestic and internationally. Hey everybody, this is Michael. I'm here with Jack today at Discretion Brewing, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the brewing process.
All right, so to start off all of our brew days, we begin by loading all of our malt into a mill, which cracks open the grains, exposes their insides, so it's easier for us to extract their starches, enzymes, and proteins. From cracking the grain, we drop them into our mash tun and mix them with hot water. The water, kind of allows those enzymes to break down the starches and convert them into sugar, which is consumable by the yeast, which is going to be our end goal. After we've allowed the mash to rest in the mash tun for about an hour, we start to recirculate the wort, which is the sugary liquid we've just made, through the grain bed until we take all the little bits of grain that are suspended in the wort and deposit them back on top of the grain bed. That'll produce our bright wort. Once we've got bright wort, we pump it over to the kettle where we begin heating. Once we get over to the kettle and fill it up, we boil for about an hour, and in that time we're looking to do a few things. We're sterilizing our wort, we're precipitating out proteins, and extracting bitterness, flavor, and aroma from our hops. After we've boiled for about an hour, that helps to drive off some of the off flavors we get, kind of raw flavors we get from the grain. Then we'll turn off the boil and pump through the side of the kettle to create a whirlpool where we mix in our more flavorful aromatic hops to retain all of that goodness in the wort. After that has whirlpooled for a few minutes, we turn off our pump and allow the protein and hop material to settle into the center of the kettle. And once it is all settled there, we can begin pumping through our heat exchanger, which cools down our wort. We'll hit it with some oxygen, which is good for our yeast, and send it to a fermenter where our yeast will ferment away for a couple of weeks, converting that sugar into alcohol and creating delicious beer.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. Here's where it starts at the mill. Kyle's loading the mill to grind the grain to send it over to the brew house. Here's the brew house, and if you look up, you'll see a white pipe. That's where the grain is coming through, and it's dropping down into the mash tun, mixing with hot water to create the mash. When we're finished with the mashing process, we're left with spent grain. This is barley that we have extracted the sugars from to make beer, and what's left over goes to our friends at a hog farm to feed the pigs. The other vessel we're looking at now is the brew kettle, and it's full and it's boiling. So that's what the beginning of the boil looks like in the brew kettle. After the boil's done, we will cool that wort down through this heat exchanger, and we're monitoring the temperature of the wort coming out. We're also injecting some oxygen in line, and we'll use a series of hoses to get the cooled oxygenated wort to the fermenter. Here's a sight glass showing that wort on its way into the fermenter, and it looks a little bit bubbly because of the oxygen bubbles that are in the stream of wort. It's not called beer yet until it's in the fermenter and we've added yeast. Once the yeast is added, fermentation can begin. The yeast consumes the sugar in the wort to produce alcohol and CO2. Excess CO2 exits the fermenter and bubbles through this bucket of sanitized water. Sometimes when we get a very vigorous fermentation, we'll get a mass of yeasty foam that fills the bucket and spills out onto the floor. That's always fun to watch. A quick look around the original part of the brewery. We've expanded over the years. This was our original space that we've kind of packed full of fermenters. There are a couple of different sizes in here, 20 barrel, and the smaller ones are 10 barrel. 10 barrels, 310 gallons. Walking back toward the brew deck, we can see Ryan up there brewing a batch of beer, and notice that patrons that would be in the tap room can observe what's happening. Now we'll move back to another area of the facility. This is a dry storage area where we have kegs, some pallets of malt, some pallets of empty cans getting ready for canning to fill with beer. And we also do barrel aging back here. So these barrels contain different types of beer. There are also different types of barrels. We use whiskey barrels, wine barrels. There's even a couple of tequila barrels and I think a gin barrel up there. This is the canning process. It's kind of fun to watch. So the empty cans come in, and Kyle is over there feeding the machine with empty cans and monitoring the process. The cans first get purged with CO2. This displaces the air that's in the cans so that the beer won't oxidize. Then the cans get filled with beer. The lid gets dropped on top of the cans, and then they get pushed into the seamer where the seal is made on the top of the can. The cans get rinsed with a quick mist of water, get a little blow dry, and then they're on to the labeling machine, which applies the labels. This is our anniversary beer that we just did recently. That's Emily saying hi. She's doing the pack off operation, pulling those cans off, putting them into cases, and putting those carriers on them, the black tops. We do 4-packs and 6-packs. Once a pallet is full, it'll get pallet wrapped, shrink wrapped, and ready to go into the walk-in cooler, which I'll show you next. This is inside the walk-in where we store all of the beer. There's bottles, kegs, and cans of beer, and it's here awaiting delivery to our customers, both through our tap room and delivery to our wholesale customers. Sometimes it's a challenge to move around and stack the beer in here when it's full. Hey, thanks for coming with me on this quick tour of Discretion Brewing. I'm so glad that we could do this little video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure, if you can, to come see us and look for some more info on our website at discretionbrewing.com. And I'm going to enjoy a beer. I hope that you're having one with me. Cheers.
Well, Michael, your hope will come to fruition because we are going to have one with you. In fact, we're going to have 3 with you. So it's my great pleasure, everyone, to formally introduce, he's live but virtual, Michael Demers, who again is the brewmaster at Discretion Brewing, and we're just thrilled. Thank you for that video. It shows what an absolute treasure this is in our community and worldwide. And thank you for conducting our beer tasting. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad that we could do this virtually. It's more fun in person, but this is pretty good. I'm truly honored to be here, and we've got 3 beers to taste today. You know that besides water and tea, beer is the 3rd most popular beverage in the world. And it makes sense. Beer's been around a very, very long time. As far as we can tell, over about 5,000 years in the grasslands of southern Babylonia. And beer spread throughout the world. Different cultures use their own available ingredients and change techniques over time. And some of the classic styles that have evolved are still with us today. You know, in our tasting today, I have to be kind of brief because we only have a few minutes. In fact, I'm going to start my timer so I don't totally mess things up, because I could talk all day about beer. But we're going to have 3 beers to try today, and we have the Lark, we have Uncle Dave's, and we have 3 Fawns. And these are styles that are, some of them are older styles, some are a little bit more recent, and we'll talk you through them. What we have, hopefully everybody has these evaluation sheets that can help guide us in our tasting, and just a way to kind of prompt what you're looking for and a place to record your thoughts. So I'll talk you through the beers and just tell you a little bit about the way I taste beer. So let's get started. We're going to try the Lark Maibock first. So if everybody has one of those, we'll taste it together. I always like to use a glass unless I'm on a boat or hiking or something like that, but always better in a glass than in a can. And when you pour beer, that's, you know, tip number 1, you want to have a little bit of a head on the beer so that more aromas can be released by that CO2 as it comes to a head. The first thing, if you look at your sheet, the first thing on there is appearance. And so if you look at the beer, you want to kind of judge the color. What's the color like? This one I'd say is a deep gold. Is it clear or cloudy? This one's pretty darn clear. We call that bright. We would call this bright beer in the industry. And then the head, this poured a nice thick head. So I would say that that is a good to persistent head on this beer, according to our sheet, which I'm referring to. After you look at it, you want to give it a smell. So you can swirl it a bit, get some aroma, see what you think there. This beer doesn't have very many hops in it. It's mostly malt focused. So, you know, I'd say it's a medium intensity aroma that's focused on the malt. The balance of the aroma, maybe a little on the sweet side. It's not herbal like if it had a lot of hops in it. And I'm getting some grain, some bread, maybe some sweet notes in there. All right, let's take a sip, see what we get. The first sip just gives you a little overall impression. It also kind of clears your palate from whatever you've had in your mouth last, which is a good thing. The second sip is a better indicator of what the beers really taste like and what the finish is like. I'm swirling it around in my mouth. That's why I'm making funny faces, so that I can get more aroma coming up through my nasal cavity. And aroma is a really big part of the flavor. So this one in the flavor, again, I'm gonna look at my sheet. I've got kind of a strong to medium malty intensity, a little bit more sweet than bitter, although I can get some bitterness from the hops. And again, I think it's a little bready, maybe a little bit of a nut character, maybe a tiny bit of light toast. This is a pretty simple malt bill in this beer. It's mostly Pilsner malt with some Munich malt and Vienna malts. Those are all very traditional in the German brewing style, which is where this comes from. The Maibock is a German style. Mouthfeel on this one, I would say, is medium to medium full. And what's next on that sheet? Carbonation. The carbonation is not really high in this one. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a little bit less than lively, perhaps, depending on how long you've had your can open. I opened mine a few minutes ago. And then the finish. I always like to think about finish. On that sheet, it might be a little confusing. It says short, medium, and long. A short or fast finish is a beer that after you swallow it, it disappears right away. Usually those are lighter beers without many hops. My ultimate fast finished beer, and I'm not promoting any companies here, but Coors Light finishes extremely fast. It's almost like drinking carbonated water. It just goes away. Something that finishes a lot longer might have a lot of bittering hops. The bitterness really lingers on your palate, the back of your tongue. And that's also why beer tasters swallow beer as opposed to wine tasters who may spit it out. You have to swallow beer to appreciate the bitterness component. So you just record, any kind of overall comments that you would have about the beer, what you think. And a sheet like this can really help you if you want to get into the tasting. Having a sheet that keeps you focused is a good idea. Cheers. Normally I would take longer with each beer, but we're just gonna have a few sips of each one today. I'll talk you through Uncle Dave's next. Let me get mine poured here. Uncle Dave's is an IPA style. It's a more malty IPA. This is one of the first beers that we ever brewed at Discretion, and it has been by far our biggest seller over the years. We've been open 8 years now, and Uncle Dave still tops our sales numbers every month. So this one also, a lot of IPAs are going to be a lighter color. This one is a deep gold to almost copper color. And it's got a fairly persistent head, maybe not quite as big as the one on the Lark was. It's clear. It's another brilliant beer. It's a filtered beer. Not all beer has to be filtered, and it's not necessarily better if it is filtered versus not filtered. It's just a style, dependent on the style. This one's got much more hop aroma. If you smell this beer, you're going to get maybe, well, everybody's different. Everybody perceives aromas and tastes differently, but I get a little bit of resinous pine. There's a little bit of a floral note in there from the hops as well, and herbal, but mostly I'm getting kind of pine notes. And that's what will kind of distinguish hoppier beers. You'll really be able to smell the hops in the aroma. Let's try the flavor. Right, this one has a nice malt flavor too, tempered more by the hops. So I'm getting definitely a little bit of caramel in the malt, a little bit of toastiness, but I'm getting a lot of hop flavor as well, in addition to the malt. So in the hops, I'm getting like a little earthiness. And take another sip. A little bit of citrus, a little earthy. The balance on this one, in the flavor balance, is it's still pretty well balanced toward the middle of that scale, but perhaps a little bit more on the bitter side than the sweet side. And mouthfeel on this is a little bit lighter than the Lark, but it's still medium. It's not a light beer. What else is over here? The finish. How long is the finish for you guys? Short, medium, long? To me, this one is kind of a medium long finish. And part of that's from the bitterness from the hops. This beer, just a little backstory, I got a little bit more time, I said it's our most popular beer. It's also got rye in it, which is not a common ingredient in beer. We usually use barley. the 4 ingredients of beer, of course, are water, number 1, which is important today because we're talking about water. 2 would be malt, usually malted barley, and then there'll be hops and yeast. This one has some rye. Sometimes we'll use alternate grains, oats, rye, wheat, etc. But Uncle Dave's, cheers, Uncle Dave. I do have a brother named Dave, but this beer is not named after him. It's named after our owner, Kathleen's Uncle Dave. And he actually comes in and enjoys one once in a while. All right, we're going to move on to Three Fawns. If you want, have a little sip of water. Three Fawns is a little bit unique in that it's a barrel-aged beer. And so it's combining a couple of different styles. And I'll talk about that. Let me get it poured here. This one's a little bit lighter colored than the first two. It's also got a little bit of a haze to it. And that haze, often barrel-aged beers will have a little haze. They pull some tannin from the wood, tends to haze things up a little bit. But yeah, the base beer style is a Belgian triple, which is a strong Belgian style. And we aged this beer in bourbon barrels for many months. I forget exactly how many months this batch was in. And another thing that will happen with barrel aging is sometimes you get less head. So I'm looking at a little bit less head on this beer and a little bit of haze. The aroma completely different than the others, right? You can smell a little bit of the barrel character coming through. So I get hints of vanilla. Yeah, a little bit of oakiness from the barrel. And this was in a bourbon barrel, so I'm also picking up a little bit of that bourbon, but it was a second use bourbon barrel. So it's not really strong in the bourbon area, but definitely a hint of it, little vanilla, little oak. The flavor, what hits me right at first is some sweetness. This base beer is a little sweet, and now that I've swallowed it, I actually get a little bit of acidity also. It kind of gives me a little bit of a mouth-watering feel. Checking my time. No, we're doing okay. Yeah, so a little bit maybe slight toffee or honey, maybe honey note in this beer. A little bit on the sweet side. There's not a lot of hops in this beer at all. So it does not showing much bitterness, and it's really not showing any hop aroma, mostly just that barrel aroma coming through. If I had to give it a hop flavor, I would say earthy. And the mouthfeel, I'm going to go with medium on this. If you compare it with like a really light mouthfeel being Coors Light and a really heavy mouthfeel being an Imperial Stout. This one was also fairly alcoholic, so keep that in mind as you're drinking all three of these. What have I missed on our sheet over here? Carbonation on this one is a little bit faint, I think. And I'm definitely getting a kind of a medium long after finish. And I get more of that barrel, more of the oak coming through after I swallow that one. This is a fun beer for us to do because we've brewed the base beer, the Belgian triple, which actually has a strange name, Sixth Conversation. We had a whole series of conversations, which were Belgian styles. First conversation through, I think we've been up through 17 of those conversation beers. And this was one of our favorites, number 6. We decided to put some in a barrel. In the video, you may have noticed the barrels that were aging back there. We have all sorts of different beers going on back there. It's not the main focus for us, but it's fun to pull something out like this, and we do limited run bottlings of these barrels.
I'm going to be around later for question and answer if you want to stick around. But I don't want to run long because I know that you guys have a lot to talk about. So I'm just going to say thank you for having me here. And if you write your comments on the beer, I think we're going to vote on which one you think is your favorite later. So cheers. Glad to be here. And I hope to see you all again in person someday.
Thank you, Michael. Let's do that poll right now. See how people are feeling about their beers.
Good idea.
So you should see on your screen a poll. Go ahead and select your favorite. We'll keep it open for another 10 or 15 seconds.
I'm not going to vote because I'm pretty partial. And I should try to remain impartial.
All right, let's have a look at the results.
Pretty even split. Looks like the Lark is the winner though, yeah?
By a hair.
Fantastic.
By a hop.
The Lark is a seasonal for us. It's out right now, but it only comes out once a year. So if you like it, grab some up because it's gone when it's gone.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Michael. What a pleasure it is to witness a man who just so enjoys his beer. And actually, I was looking in the gallery as well. That was a joy. By the way, I'm going to exert a little MC privilege here and override those results because I too am partial. And Uncle Dave's gets it every time. I'm sorry. It was a faulty poll. Uncle Dave's, that's the one to go and enjoy. And I can guarantee that so many of us will be at your establishment, Michael, on 41st Avenue in SoCal to enjoy many more imbibements as the days and months go on. Thank you so much for being with us. All right. It is time for a drawing. I promised 4 of them. This is the very first, and this is a beauty. And just to illustrate that we don't favor the hop over the grape, this is for a case of Alberti fine wine. And I know for a fact that this is wine that is fit for a president. Indeed, it is fit for 2 presidents, because if you're a guest, you won't know this, but our current presidents of Rotary, the Sunrise Rotary Club, are Peggy and Jim Alberti, and they are the wonderful vintners with regard to this case. And they have donated this particular case. Very importantly, you must be present to win. So here we go. This is for a full case of outstanding Alberti wines. And again, Jim and Peggy, thank you so much for everything you've done for our club over the years, and especially this year. It's been marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
To the drawing. Oh, you're most welcome. Here we go. I'm going to go over to my drawing pot, and I will avert my eyes, reach in, and then hold the winner up.
As long as Rick didn't sabotage you, it's okay.
That would be something. We have a certain member who is not the winner. Sorry, Rick. The winner is none other than Dave Craner-Erner. Well done, Dave.
Oh,
You are
wow, great. Oh, we're really happy.
Woo.
nice. The that everyone's going to be super happy in that household.
That's like great.
Let us move on. Oh, look at there they are showcased. I love that. All right. It is now my great pleasure to introduce, or maybe reintroduce, Peggy Pollard, who again has driven this wonderful force of nature supporting Kasese. And she's about to show us a video which shows us just how transformative our help can be. Peggy.
All right, Wabuchire, greetings from Santa Cruz Sunrise Rotary and Kasese Rotary Club. Special welcome to one of our friends from Kasese, Johnson Burajos, who is in the house here. If you want to give a wave, Johnson, best tour guide in Uganda. And it's only 2 in the morning for him right now, so he's especially welcome. So please keep him awake if you can. Also, we have, if you got in your party packs, Ugandan chocolate. This was bought at Trader Joe's, and please enjoy some now while you're enjoying the video. we should have a whole nother event just for the chocolate tasting. This is the best in the world. If you looked at the back of your wrapper, did you get it out of the garbage can? Look, there is a little map that points to the same region in Uganda that we are helping. It's probably an hour north of Kasese, Fort Portal. So that is especially why this chocolate is very special. I am Peggy Pollard. I'm chair of the International Committee of Santa Cruz Sunrise Rotary. So thanks to joining us all today to support our big Uganda water project. It is 2 in the morning in Kasese now, and they just had a big wedding for 2 people who will be in the video. Rona Itunga, who is the project director from the Rotary Club of Kasese. She is now the assistant governor in Rotary, and she's been instrumental in this project. So she just married Enoch, who's also a Rotarian in charge of the dancing that you will see in the video. They are a Kasese Power Rotary couple. 8 years ago, I first met the Rotarians when they came to Santa Cruz and visited. Since then, we've sponsored their water and sanitation projects in Luhwahwa Village. They have a big plan of developing this village as a model village to reach the whole area, to be a teaching example and teach the whole region there how to do improvements. We have now successfully completed our first phase of the model village plan, so we know how to do it. With the local leadership in the village, you'll see Stephen in the video. He is instrumental of organizing the leadership team within the village. They're the ones who are implementing the project, and they are teaching their neighbors already how to do these improvements using the eco-sand latrines and the clean water, plus economic development too, more than we even expected. What I love most about this project is that we are empowering the local leaders. We know they are the ones who know how to get things done within their culture, within Rotary, within their community. So let's do it again. We are going to repeat the same project that we have finished in the Luhwahwa town to take it to the next door neighbor community for 2,000 more people. I would love to tell you all about it, but better that we'll have the Kasese Rotary team tell you themselves in words, songs, and dancing.
We are happy to see you today. Sit down and listen to us. Younger children sing for you.
Youth cultural dancers.
Yeah.
dear visitors from America, thank you for the support you have given us, and we'll always remember you all the time.
Feel very happy and we feel enlightened. Thank you very much for the things you have provided. We really appreciate.
Okay, these children, they talk, they learn their mother tongue language.
It was so exciting to visit Luwawa, to see the happy and healthy children running all around the neighborhood, smiling, laughing, playing together. They were equally enthusiastic in seeing us. They loved the toothbrushes and toothpaste we brought and were thrilled with the stickers that could place all over their skin. But the biggest thrill was when we gave them some soccer balls. They all charged into the dirt play area between their homes and shared vigorous kicking about. We enjoyed seeing many of the neighbor children caring for younger siblings, helping carry water or off at school. And then each time we returned to the neighborhood, they would run up to visit with us via smiles as our only common language. Supplying clean water to the village is basic to health. The EcoSan latrines are now helping keep their water supply clean so they can avoid their common debilitating infectious diseases such as cholera, dysentery, typhoid, parasites, and other water contaminants. Our proposal in Global Grant 2 will expand the Global Grant 1 clean water and composting latrines to a neighboring village of 2,000. The compost collected from the EcoSan latrines will also enhance their farms. They can grow more of their own food for better nutrition, and their extra crops can be marketed for income. Our project included hygiene training, teaching importance of hand washing and how to make tippy taps using what they already have. Plastic jerry cans attached by a string to a stick with a foot lever tipping the water for hands-free cleaning. The village leaders have shown dedication in training their neighbors in all aspects of the improved hygiene. We were warmly welcomed by the entire Luwawa village. They were quite pleasant hosts and all encouraged us to be sure to return. Thanks for your support.
Currently the club project director. For this particular project, our Luwawa water and sanitation project, I have coordinated a number of activities training farmers. I have really seen a lot of transition from the members we started with in 2014. Personally, when I started working with them to today, there is a very big change.
The mayor of Kasese municipality. I would like to thank all the Rotarians for Rotary Club of Santa Cruz and all our partners for the support you have given us on this Luwawa project. It's a project we have been on for close to 2 decades now, till we found you as partners. Our main objective was to make it a model village, transforming it. They access clean water, we improved on their hygiene, put up EcoSan toilets, empower them economically. This water project was mainly handled during the COVID pandemic. This village actually survived because there was water which was already readily available. Hand washing was convenient for them. During the COVID, they didn't experience any case by improving their sanitation and reduce the incidence of disease. So expenditure of medicine has now gone down. Now people no longer get sick from the usual diseases. So this is a project we are determined to continue with and which we think can transform this rural community. We thank you for all the assistance.
Ladies and gentlemen from Sunrise Santa Cruz, my name is Moses Akiza from Rotary Club of Kasese and the President-elect. I'm looking forward to making sure this grant comes on board my year as a president, and I'll be so glad. Special regards to the Rotarians elders in Rotary Club of Sunrise Santa Cruz. Thank you for working hard towards improving the lives of our people, making sure all our 2 projects gets on board. Thank you very much. See you. We love you guys. Take care.
Is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. But what the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord,
so many years have come. Many years have gone by, but the course of love still goes on, flowing from California to our land, Kasese. Granted us that we be a sister district to Santa Cruz, so loyally embrace it with happiness before you for the days of our lives.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video. And back to you, Rod.
Thank you so much, Peggy. That was a beautiful video. Thank you, George, and thank you to all of our friends in Kasese. As you can see, we have a huge opportunity in front of us, and it's my honor and privilege to speak to that opportunity. What you witnessed there, what Peggy mentioned before, and what is so palpably evident is that this is a success. And that's the joy of this particular project, is that we know that it works. Thanks to the outreach of Rotary and for the infrastructure that's been established in Kasese through the Kasese Rotary Club and just through the Kasese leaders, something special has been created and it is in place. And as we witnessed there, it is quite transformational. Before all of this happened, it was typically the women who had to go and fetch the water. And they spent hours a day doing that. And then soon it was their daughters who were yanked out of school to collect the water, all of it wasting precious time. Needless to say, the water that they now have available and accessible is free of disease. As Dr. George pointed out, the number of diseases in that part of Africa that are waterborne is flabbergasting, and that is eradicated. So suddenly, way more time. Households, complete households, can be so much more productive. The agriculture itself with accessible water flourishes. Instead of eking out a living, they are now able to actually sell their wares. Indeed, education is now so much more possible, particularly for the girls, because once again, it was them that were taken from school and required to go and fetch the water. So everybody is elevated educationally, which means there are cottage industries that are being talked about and indeed are being implemented as well. All of these things, economic viability, sustainability, and ambition. The kids don't have to go off to the big cities in the hopes that somehow they'll find a way in their lives. They can actually make a living at their villages now. And the whole thing compounds upon itself all from this one resource, clean water, readily accessible. And of course, we've got the EcoSands too. And indeed, they have created already a means of creating money for themselves with the EcoSand toilets. They have now developed an organic urine, which is used as a pesticide and works perfectly. Again, these are the kind of opportunities. We can enable and empower the genius that is already resident in this wonderful community and all of the other communities beyond that. And that's what's so special about this. As has been illustrated, we've already done this. It's going to be accentuated this time around with Global Grant 2. And then everybody is on board, as we already witnessed on the video, not only to make mention of, but eagerly to share everything that they're learning, so that this 2,000 moves to another 2,000, which moves to another, and the whole thing just grows exponentially. And we, that's to say, all of us here in these rooms, we have the opportunity to play that all forward together. We just had a marvelous time together. We've enjoyed water, we've enjoyed free-flowing beer as well. We've enjoyed each other, and we constantly enjoy our own community. And suddenly that gift is available for us to play forward. What an opportunity it is. So it can be done so simply too. We are going to have an opportunity to give. But before I go to that, I'd like to back up just a little bit, because already there are numerous people in this room who have given a lot of money already. Our sponsors, as I mentioned right at the beginning, have been quite extraordinary. And everyone here has contributed already by being here, buying a little beer. And we thank you. And it might be, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, we really do. But it might be that some of you have given every last penny that you can. But if you find yourself in a place where you can give just a little bit, this would be the perfect time to do it. Because we're all here, finally, together. And we can all witness and share in each other's kindness and generosity. And on the subject of kindness and generosity, we have an anonymous donor who would like to get things going. And he's thrown out a matching, he or she, it's anonymous, a matching donation, so that everything that we give, even if it's if it's $5, suddenly it becomes $10, and it counts. That's a small amount of money for us, but it's a huge amount of money for Kasese, Uganda. And when compounded with everyone, it becomes, as we've been saying, quite transformational. So this is our opportunity. And what I'd like to initiate now, everyone, is a 4-minute frenzy giving. It's so easy to accomplish. All you have to do is go to the chat room and hit the link that John just put up there. So go to the chat. In fact, let's start it in 10 seconds. And then we can sit back, go on in if you can, and make your pledge. And then we can watch, we can sit back and just watch this money expand. And with it, the lives of thousands of people expand. So here we go. We're going in 10 seconds. Chat room link, 45 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're open. Thank you so much, everybody. All right. Again, we understand if you've given as much as you can, then this is an opportunity just to watch your community come together. You've already participated, you've already contributed. But if you can give a little bit more within these 4 minutes, this would be the time to do it. So we can all share in this collective goodwill and kindness. All right. I need to look up at the board. We've already got, look at that. We've got 14 people have already come through. It's over $1,300. Boom, just like that. That is amazing. And that kind of money. And we're hearing people in the audience making little gestures and noises, which is thrilling to us because there is a certain excitement to all of this, which I cannot conceal. as people go on in and have this opportunity. Again, we are so grateful for those of your generosity is a playing forward generosity that is so, so appreciated. We are now up to look at it, we're at $2,600 with 19 of you already leaping in. This is brilliant. Keep up the good work, everyone. It's a 4-minute frenzy, and we have had 1 full minute already. This is astonishing. You will simply not regret this. I mean, if you hop in the next minute or two, just on an impulse, just going for it, because
hey, Rod,
you won't be disappointed. I'm so sorry.
Rod, tell us again how we get in the donate room, because I'm trying but not being able to get
in. We have Rick Hofstetter, might be in the same position as others. You go into the chat room. You simply go to chat, open it up, and there will be a link waiting for you there. Thank you, Rick, for drawing my attention to the fact that that wasn't completely clear. Thank you, everyone. And if you hadn't had the chance to get there, it's the chat room with 2 minutes remaining. We're up over $4,000, everyone. This is amazing. $5,000, $5,600. What an outpouring. You guys are absolutely extraordinary. And of course, every penny of this goes straight to this village, the village that is replicating and is paying it forward themselves to the next village and to the next layer, the next level of population, the kids. It's the kids that were going to benefit so much from this. The girls who were thrown out. It's at $7,500, and 35 of you have got into chat. This is absolutely astounding. Again, $7,000, $7,500 as it is now. It's going to make such a massive difference. Thank you, everyone. And if we might have a final flurry at the very, very end, this is so powerful. We're going to be looking at $8,500. Could we possibly get to 10 in the next few seconds? Will that be something? $10,000. That will go such a long way. And as we witnessed on the video, so many people are ready to spread the word. You saw Mayor Godfrey there saying, we want to be a model village. We want to share. They've placed the infrastructure in place already in readiness to share to the elders and the leaders of other villages. This is it. All they needed was some financial help, and you guys are pouring it on. It's at 9,000 now, and 39 of you, and again, many of you have given already. So this is virtually everyone, and this is great, great and extraordinary generosity. Thank you so much. We're going to do a little countdown here swiftly. We are going to go in 45 seconds, which gives you just enough time to slip in if you haven't had that time. We are at $9,172, but they're coming in as you guys go and visit the chat. You guys are astonishing. This is what community is all about. We've paid it forward. Maybe there's something we'll have to sacrifice. And never we're at 10,000. 10,000 has been hit. 10,121. And little sacrifices to us create this giant wealth to a village that is so deserving, and who are going to be promoting this and working together as a community, spreading the word. All right, we have 20 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen. Communities are looking in amazement at this. It's 2 in the morning at Kasese, but there are some Kasesan eyes that are looking at this saying, what is happening? We have 10 seconds remaining. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're done. Woo! That is the end of the 4-minute frenzy.
Thank you.
Oh my, but hold on. That's the end of the frenzy. But we do want to offer you this. We want to keep this site open because we realize that many of our friends weren't able to visit today. And some of you might want to talk to a spouse or talk to a financial advisor or who knows. But we're going to keep this donation link open for a full week. So do feel free
Pretty
if
good,
you
huh?
find yourself compelled in that
That's
way
like
to
15,000.
revisit or invite others to do
Well,
so.
now we're 10,000.
This
Hey,
is
look,
astonishing.
48 participants. They had
All right. We have 48 participants, I hear, in the gallery. Wow. You know what? There is some unfinished business for us to attend to. We still have 3 drawings. What a perfect opportunity for us to celebrate now. We have 3 drawings coming up, the first of which is for a pair of booties. And we are so generous that it'll be a pair of booties in your own size. And this is from a hotline. And Peggy, thank you very much for bringing these in. That's Peggy Pollard. And the winner will be, and this is such a beautiful Santa Cruzan prize. Stroll down to the beach in these beauties. If your name is Kathleen Chandler Eckhart. Kathleen Eckhart. That's great news. Oh, I need to check. You must be present to win, correct? Kathleen, are you here? Are you up there? Kathleen, if so, raise your voice or raise your thumbs. You might already be doing a dance. And I know Kathleen is a keen surfer amongst all the other sports that she does, but it seems that she is not here. Oh my, everybody, we're sworn to secrecy. Don't let her know that she won, and if only, because we're going to open this up to the next person. Here it is.
We should tell her that way that she'll know to stay all the way to the end.
Oh, should we do that? Should we? No, certainly not. There is no wall of shame in Rotary.
Yeah,
we move
no
on.
shame in Rotary.
The next one, Jeff Kirk. You are going to be clad in a pair of booties and wending your way.
Go, Jeff. You are super deserving.
Down to the beach. And as Peggy said, you are super deserving. Jeff is our raconteur and our poet. And I'm sure he will wax very lyrical about these pair of booties. But sorry, Jeff, we don't have time. We move on to the next one. And this is a gem. West End Tap Room is a wonderful facility. I'm sure you're all very familiar with it. And it has great beers as well. And we have a gift certificate for $150. Not bad. You can take your family there a couple of times, I would say. And here we go. I'm going to draw out that next name. And as I do so, I'd like to thank the Keats for getting this. Thank you very much, Patrice and Bob, and of course to the tap room itself for their generosity. And the winner is Tony Giannotti. Ho! And such a well-deserved one. Tony has been so active in Rotary.
Hey,
well
Tony.
done. Hopefully he's still active. He is still active. There he is.
Yeah, great.
His arms raised to stars. Oh,
Go Bears,
yes.
go
That's a
Bears.
very, very happy pair. Good for you, chaps. You are on your way to the tap room. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you have the opportunity, all of you, except 3, have the opportunity now to go to Hawaii. And we hope very much that the person drawn will not be someone who has sped away. But maybe you don't actually hope that. Here we go. This is a beautiful, this is quite astonishing, actually. It is on the big island of Hawaii. It's located just south of Kona. In fact, it's a walk to downtown Kona as it is a walk to the beach. Beautiful resort. It is Wyndham Resort in Kona, the Wyndham Kona. It is a 3-star facility. It's given 4.5 stars on TripAdvisor. So you know you're going to a very special place. 2 big bedrooms, 2 big baths, very spacious, sleep 6 with absolute comfort. And again, it's a walk to the beach, walk to town, the most exquisite gardens imaginable, and it's all there for your enjoyment. If your name is this, must be present to win. We so hope you're here. And by the way, we have the afterglow immediately afterwards. But let's get to this. I have averted my eyes long enough. The winner of a full week in Hawaii is Linda Carter. Linda Carter, is she here? Let's hope she's
I'm here. I'm here.
She's here. There she is. And there is a. He's going to. Oh, look at that hula, hula, hula. Love it. Well, congratulations.
Oh my God.
Linda, we are. Oh, look at that. The Carters are very delighted. Oh, magnificent.
I think.
Well, I know. It's bittersweet because a lot of you thinking, oh, if only. But you know what? I'm not a statistician, but it is my view that if you didn't win this particular time, then at the next Rotary event, you have more chance of winning. There you have it. All right. But everyone, to quote the cliche, has won today. Absolutely. It has been an amazing day. Thank you all so much for your participation. I think we would be remiss if we didn't stand up, unmute ourselves, and give a huge round of applause to each other and pass forward a huge round of applause to the people in Kasese for an extraordinary day. We so look forward to how everything goes. Thanks everyone, your amazing generosity. Feel free to go to the Afterglow if you choose, or if not, thank you again for being here. It's been an amazing event. Cheers. One.
Thanks,
and
Rod. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.
I'm off to the Afterglow.
Chibonyomera sula munju wendi kwata mulala chibonyomera sula munju wendi kwata mulala nalina balunja bengabi wendi kwata mulala nalina balunja bemamba wendi kwata mulala chibonyomera sula munju wendi kwata mulala nalina balunja bomusu wendi kwata mulala nalina balunja bobutiko wendi
Saba wansaza nze nfudde yinze nswadde owange wanzita wagwagwala kale wagwagwala nfudde kale wagwagwala kale wanswaza nawe waswala wagwagwala weta okulokoka yegwatasoma atolokoka emisomo gyagana munawe olokoka oli misomo gyalima mu Yesu yampita wantama wagwagwala kale wagwagwala wantama wagwagwala kale wagwagwala nfudde kale wagwagwala
iya wawaya. Silimu nyango, anekila woko wawaya. Silimu nyango, anekila woko wawaya. Silimu nyango, anekila woko wawaya. Nyota matwareto, maraya bitumi wawaya. Nyota matwareto, maraya bitumi wawaya. Silimu nyango, anekila woko wawaya. Hata, 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 wawaya. Hata, 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 wawaya. Silimu nyango, anekila woko wawaya. Enyane kutudde yegenda, enyane kutudde yegenda, enyane kutudde yebulawo, enyane kutudde yebulawo. Maria Mangada omweyagalire yalinya nnongo ennongo ne mukalabula. Gusaba nkutabaze, gusaba nkutabaze, gusaba nkutabaze. Nkoko etabaza Sanje, mmese etabaza Mutwalu.
Ajoga mero tino bang